Hiya! So I've come to you with like an October November book haul, kind of little part of December. So let's start. Most of the books here I don't know much about because I like to go into books without knowing much about it, so I don't get spoilers and stuff like that. But I'll try to explain it the best way that I can. So the first book I got here is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book I got because of peer pressure. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone in the entire booktube talked about this book nonstop for ages. So I finally gave up and I was like, okay. And it's really, really floppy, which is always good. So it's about an actress who had seven husbands, and she's like in the end of her career now, and a reporter goes to interview her about her life and stuff like that, and it's basically like a biography of a fictitious person, and apparently it's really good. Next book we have is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, and I really like mystery and thrillers, but I mostly see them on BookTube. That's a lie. I don't see them mostly on BookTube because YA is usually fantasy or contemporary, and the only thrillers and mysteries I can find are older books like Agatha Christie, and that's the only one I can think of. But anyway, so when I heard about this book, people said it was really enthralling and cool, and people really liked it, so I grabbed myself one. Next is The Serpent and the Dove, and if I don't really like book tropes, especially insta love, but one book trope that I like is hate to love. I don't know why, don't ask me why, I don't know why, but I really like hate to love. And this is supposed to be about a witch and a witch hunter, and they for some reason get together and stuff happens. So yes, a witch and a witch hunter thrust into holy matrimony. So fun. Next one is Imagine Me by Tahari Mafi. This one is being really like, people are salty for some reason. I don't know why. I'm really like hoping that Tahari Mafi didn't ruin the series, because I really like it. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I read Shattered Meat, I really didn't like it, but I do this thing that really people shouldn't do, that is buy books from a series that you haven't read the first one. So I had already bought the second and the third one. I read the second, I loved it. I read the third, I loved it, so I kept buying them. And this is supposed to be the last one in the series, and the reviews on Goodreads are not good, and that makes me so anxious and so terrified to read this one. Oh dear God. I have like ideas of what might happen, that people might be so angry about it, and if it's what I'm thinking, I'm gonna throw up. I will. Next we have The Diviners by Libba Bray. I tried to make sprayed edges on this one, following G from Book Roast's channel, but it was my first try and didn't go super well, but it's sprayed edges, you know, it's here, it's done. So I don't really know what this is about, but I've heard really good things on on Goodreads and BookTube too. So maybe let's read a little bit about it. Oh, so it's set in the 20s, and it's a girl called Evie, who has to live with her uncle Will, who is obsessed with the occult. So maybe there's paranormal stuff in this book, which is cool. The next book is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So Brandon Sanderson is an author who I am literally tired of hearing about. It's everywhere, especially on G's channel. She loves it, so floppy. She loves it so much, and not just her, but every other book channel. I haven't heard one single person speak something bad about this author. And the thing is, I was gonna start with Mistborn, but here in Brazil, Amazon, when you search for books in English, they sell you the American copy. And on Mistborn, the American copy are really ugly, and those UK covers with just blue, black, and white, and kind of like misty watercolor illustrations are so beautiful, and I'm like on the hunt for them. I already bought the first 3, but they're so expensive because I had to hunt for them. But I was like, this one is definitely not as good as the UK one, but it's not ugly, I think. It's not ugly. I mean, the other one is much better, I agree, but this one is not ugly, and I thought, if I can't start with Mistborn, let's start with Skyward, right? Next one is The Devil and the Dark Water, which is the next novel from Stuart Turton, who is the author of The 7.5. Mine has 7. I have the book and it's 7 Deaths of Evelyn Evelyn Hardcastle, but here it says, praise for Stuart Turton's best-selling The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So apparently they changed the title of the book. Okay. So I really liked the first one, and as I said, I'm on a hunt for thrillers and like murder mystery novels, and this one is set on the high seas on a boat, and someone dies on this boat, and people are like, who is the murderer, and is there like a devil in this boat, a demon or something like this, like a murder on the high seas, a detective duo, a demon who may or may not exist. So it's like just like the 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, it mixes mystery with paranormal and fantasy. So, and also his books have maps, which I love. I don't know why, but who doesn't love a book with a map? I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Please tell me. Inside is just normal. Yeah. The next 3 books I bought because they were in my TBR and they're classics, and I'm not gonna talk much about them. The first one is by Graham Greene, and it's called The End of the Affair. It's right here. The second one is Italo Calvino, and Italo Calvino, and it's If a Winter's Night, a Traveler. I really like this name because it's like in the middle of a sentence, it cuts off, and it's the title of a book. If a Winter's Night, a Traveler. That's really cool. And I think it's also a mystery. Ooh, it's like a book inside a book. This remarkable novel leads you through many different books, including a detective adventure, a romance, a satire, An erotic story, a diary, and a quest. Huh. But the hero of them all is you, the reader. So maybe it's short stories, or it's actually... I think maybe it's short stories. I'm not sure at all, but I'm excited. The next one is by Elizabeth Bowen, and it's The Death of the Heart, which is the second book I tried sprayed edges on, making my own sprayed edges on, and I think it worked this time. I tried matching her little dress, and it looks really cute. Yay! The next book is this chunker called The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and I also bought it by peer pressure because so many people talked about it and loved it and gushed about it, and Jesus, look at it. I knew it was big, but this is like Tolstoy novel level right here. A world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. So vague. I like it. Is the newest Sarah J. Maas that I know, which is Crescent City, and it's the first book in the new series called A House of Earth and Blood. And you know, I was gonna say you know me, but you don't know me. I absolutely love Throne of Glass. I haven't started reading the other series, a court of thorns and roses. Is that it? It's a court of something. But I love so much Throne of Glass. It's like my favorite series other than Harry Potter. And when I saw there was a new Sarah J. Maas book, I just had to grab it. And look how beautiful it is inside. Look at this. Just look at it. So beautiful. And look. It was worth it. It was worth it. Next book was also kind of recommended to me by watching G from Book Roast, which is Descender. It's the first volume of Descender, which is a comic book based on these really big robots that appear on Earth, and this little boy who appears to also be an AI, and that's all I know about it so far. Next we have Legendary, which I already read, and it's the sequel to Caraval, which I loved, and many people on Goodreads were not really impressed with Caraval. People don't really like descriptive books, but and I don't either if the description is boring, but the descriptions on Caraval and all of Stephanie Garber's books are like whimsical and colorful, and my cat is ruining my shoes right now. Whimsical, it's like you can eat them, it's like you can taste them, it's something else. It's really good. So this is the sequel to Caraval. Caraval is about two sisters who are obsessed with this event called Caraval that happens once a year, led by its leader called Legend. But you can only go to Caraval if you're invited. It's like an exclusive thing. So they, year after year after year after year, they send letters to Legend trying to participate in Caraval, which is like a competition. And if you win the competition, you get a prize at the end. But they never get to go because they're not invited. But in the first book, Caraval, of course, they're invited and they go. And this is the second book. I'm not gonna talk about it because it would be a spoiler, and I loved it even more than the first, I have to say. Right now I am reading the third book in the series called Finale. So it's Caraval, Legendary, and Finale. at this point I'm right here, and it's good so far. It's a bit slow so far. I don't think books need to be this big, but I think it's like a thing with YAs that one has to be bigger than the other. It's like, why? It doesn't need to be, but they do that. You know, if the second book is shorter than the first, the world is gonna end somehow. So, but anyway, I am hoping I'm gonna love this as much as the other ones. So these next books are books in Portuguese because I live here in Brazil, and the thing is, I am losing kind of my ability to speak. Not my ability, but my I'm not very eloquent anymore in Portuguese because I watch so many things in English, I read so many things in English, and now my Portuguese is really flawed, and it's really weird to be more eloquent in a language that is not your native language. So I bought some books in Portuguese for me to kind of practice a little bit. So these are books on my TBR. Two of them, one of them is not. So this is My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Varga, I don't know. It's about a girl that thinks life is pointless, basically, and she sets a date for her suicide. And we kind of go through like her life like a diary. Every day she goes like 24 days until the day, 23 days until the day, and something happens that maybe will change her mind, maybe not, we'll see. The next book is The Seven Last Months of Anne Frank by Willie Lindler, and it's a collection of interviews with women who survived the concentration camps and were able to have maybe conversations, or they saw or they were aware of Anne while she was there with them. And these women talk about what they experienced and what they basically how were the last months of Anne Frank's life, because they were there to witness it with her. So I've always been a really big fan of Anne Frank. I love her diary. It's like one of my favorite books. I visited her hiding place in Amsterdam and I cried my eyes out. It's, I don't know, you know when you think you have like a connection to someone but that person never met you and you never met that person. I feel like I have a big connection with Anne Frank. I don't know why, but I feel so deeply about her. And I think what is cool about this book is that besides Anne Frank, it talks a lot about the other women who give accounts of what they witnessed of Anne Frank. They talk about their stories too, which are women who went through what Anne Frank went through, but they survived. So it's a really interesting book and I'm really dying to read it. And it has pictures. These pictures are really gory, I'm not gonna show them. It has pictures of the concentration camps. It has pictures of the women who are giving the accounts, and it's gonna be a really interesting book. Next book, it's in a little box and it comes like this every month in a subscription box here in Brazil called Tag. Here we call it Tag. And it comes every month with a little like gift. This month it came with another book called I Would Die for You, and it's short stories by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And what I love about Tag is that they make their own books. So it's the attention to detail is like perfect. They make their own illustrations, and it's just really, really, really beautiful, their books. And so every month their book comes in a little box. So it comes with the book, which is always in hardcover. Always in hardcover. Always beautiful. This one has sprayed edges, with a bookmark and a little booklet with informations about the book, the author, and the person who recommended the book, because every time they get a person to recommend the book, someone really nice. Like one month was by Shimamanda Adichie. I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing her name right. And they also make their own books, and they all come in hardcover, and they are always beautiful. So this is my haul for October, November, and the little beginning of December, and I really hope you enjoyed it, at least a little bit. Thank you so much, and I see you soon. Bye.